Shanti, welcome all. Happy to see everyone here. And Zoomers, welcome as well. I'm Michelle. Name is Michelle, actually. I'm not Michelle. My name is Michelle, and I am the co-MC that I share with Louise. But tonight you've got me. So we're saying goodbye to August, which is kind of interesting, because I'm a big summer fan, but so I'm going to remember August with love. And that's what this month has been, remembering with love. But it's more than just a season or a month. It really is remembering who we are as souls, remembering our connection to the divine. And it's a lovely sentiment tonight because it's simply remembering. And I like that, simply. And I was thinking about what's simple. We wish it was simple. It's never that simple. It seems simple, and it is simple. But in the way, at least I could speak for myself, it doesn't ever seem simple because there are so many other things going on. But remembering I believe what we're going to talk about is not just looking back and nostalgia or thinking about things of how things were, or it really is an active tense of remembering. And I was thinking about it this week. I had something happen, a lovely thing happen on Saturday. And how do you remember who you are as a soul? How do you remember that connection with the divine, if you will? How do you become that? How does that DNA, I call it the DNA, connect? And I had that happen on Saturday, whereby I connected with 3 people, total strangers, who, when I had been wearing we had gone to an event and I was wearing my white outfit. And I think, with unbeknownst to me, it was so simple. I just spent a couple of hours with my fellow Brahma Kumaris, and we were doing wonderful things, and we were thinking about what we do. And I didn't realize it, but I guess that scent was still on me, because when I left, I had to go to Macy's. I had to. No, I had to pick something up, and I'm dressed, and I didn't realize that energy was still with me, because I walked in, I had to pick something up, and a woman looks at me behind the counter and says, "Oh my, you're like an angel." Huh? But I went with it, and I was thinking, I was thinking you, because, you have those interactions. And I said, well, I just came from a wonderful event, the Indian Independence Day. And she goes, oh, do you meditate? She was asking me all these different questions. And I had my cards with her. And she says, oh, I have the tingles. I was supposed to meet you. I was supposed to meet you. And I have to tell you, it reinforced at that moment, that connection. I didn't think about myself. It was happening right before. It was a moment of action. It was in the moment. And it was such a direct connection. I'm walking out, and 2 other women work there came up to me and go, who are you? I feel, it was just so, it wasn't me though, because me, it was, I do believe with all my heart that time I was an instrument, that the connection was so, I got goosebumps. There was something, and it didn't come from me. It came from being, I can't say it enough, when the company you keep, it does stay with you. And I use that term, I used it last week, ineffable. I couldn't explain what was going on. Everywhere I walked, people were coming up to me. Oh, what are you? It was, but it was not me. It was me, and because I'm me, and most times, I hate to say it, like today, I'm me, and people are bumping into me in the city. But when I remember in the moment who I am, who I'm with, miracles happen, great things happen. And that's why I come, because I want part of that. And it's out there. And I could explain this to you and you, because you're shaking, some of you are shaking your heads. You know that's true. Some people I talk to, they go, okay, have a nice day. But if you have that opening and you have that faith and that belief, it is something so sure now. It is the surest thing I know. It's real. And that's what I think we're going to touch on today with, are we? Yeah, I thought so. No, no, no. No. Anyway, I think it was Baba showing me my potential. I really do, because it was great. But anyway, we have tonight a real instrument. And what I mean by an instrument, a teacher, all good things, connection, and that's Sister Sandhya, who is working in the world. She's an IT professional, but what I know her for is the workshops, the sessions. She's also my editor now. She is my, helps me, but really bringing the spiritual knowledge to the world, the worldly people like me. Because, when I'm not divine, and I'm me, I used to think I was split in half, the human part, the mundane part, because I'm very mundane, and then there's the divine. And when they come together, I am at my best. And Sister Sandhya has been a student and a teacher for over 30 years. And she is so special in the way she explains things and the way it just makes perfect sense. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited. So let's welcome Sister Sandhya to our stage.
Good evening. Om Shanti. What an opening, huh? But I do think, Michelle, you touched on something that's true and real. The whole month, those of you who've been here the previous weeks, we were talking about remembrance, right? Remembering in various forms. Today, I'm going to explain to you what happened to Michelle. We're just going to try and dissect and understand what remembering actually means. You all know that, right? You all know what remembering is? There are two things. There is recollecting and there is remembering. Anyone of you know the difference? You're not sure? Okay, we'll become sure by the end of the session. Recollect is when you're trying to recall facts, things that have happened, like how many of you know the multiplication table? If not anything, at least twos, right? 2 into 1, 2 into 2, right? It's you're recollecting something that you were taught, it's a fact and it's useful, right? But that's not remembering. Remembering and recollecting are different. Recollecting is for facts, things that have happened, things that I know I've been taught, skills. Remember. Now, you know what remember is. Just like you know recollect, you also know remember. Am I right? See, the minute there is a question, right? Do you know? You're going in and checking somewhere, aren't you? There's a whole Google search going on inside of you, right? What you are trying to do is connect this question to something that may already be there. So usually remembering starts with what we call a trigger or a spark. It could be a simple question, right? Like Michelle was saying, who am I, right? That was her thing on Saturday. A simple question like that could spark you to remember something. We call it a trigger. It starts off a process. It could also be something on the outside. You all, I'm sure most of you have this experience. You hear a song, you're just going on a road and you hear the song. Something happens, right? You know, my mother tongue is a language called Tamil. When we play one of the old songs in my mother tongue, and when I was very young, my mom used to sing to me certain songs, just like that, no? To put you to sleep and all that. Some of those songs, when they are played, what automatically comes to my mind is the time when I was laying on her lap, trying to sleep, or trying not to sleep because I want to hear the song. You see the difference between recollecting and remembering? Similarly, let's say there is some smell, some food that you ate when you were young, your mother made it for you, your grandmother, whatever, that connection, right? The smell of that food triggers a remembrance, right? How is this different from your multiplication tables? How beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you. Yes, remembrance is associated with feelings, with emotions, or an experience that you had in life. And anything, any of these three, right, they become a memory. So when you remember, you're remembering from a memory. It could be something that's recent. It could be something that's many years past, right? Sometimes it's even beyond many years. You don't know from where it comes. There was, I don't know, some of these videos that go around, right? They're viral now. There was this little child, maybe 3 months old. And the mother sings to him. There is one particular song. He listens to all songs, but one particular song, when she sings, he starts to cry. She does it in different orders, but anytime she starts that song, he starts to tear. So we don't know from where it's coming. It's something that is triggered within. That is remembrance. It's always associated with an experience or a feeling in the immediate past. It could be way past, it could be anything, but it starts off an experience within. Make sense? You're still with me there, right? There is another thing that's associated with remembrance. Because it is associated with feelings, it could be positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Because it is associated with feelings, there is a memory even in your body. So when you remember, there is an automatic reaction or a response in the body. One of the easiest things to remember is from that of fear, right? In upstate New York, in the Catskills, there is a waterfall. If any one of you have been to Peace Village, many of you would have seen that waterfall. It flows beautifully through many levels. And then at one point, it falls all the way. I don't know how high it is, but it's possible to go to that edge and you can actually look down. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. The minute, now we are not there, we're all here. Think you are at the edge and you're looking down. You feel that? There is something churning in your stomach that happens because it's recorded inside that when you look down, especially if you have even a little fear of heights, you have that happening. So the body remembers, the muscles in the body remember, the heart remembers the feelings, and there is the actual memory. All three of these connect when you remember. That's why, although it's a gift given to all of us, it's a very, very big treasure. And it's important to know how to use it, right? So you all know how to remember. So what are we going to talk about? I think there is one thing that I'm going to reveal to you that probably none of you know. I think. You can tell me after this. How does this remembering happen? Many of us think if something has happened in my life and it's stored in my memory, when I recollect, it comes back and I remember this whole thing that has happened to me. Am I correct? Is that how you think of remembrance? I'm thinking. Is that true? Is there anyone who thinks differently? Is there something else that happens in the process of remembering? I'm going to reveal to you the biggest truth. You'll be amazed. Are you ready? When something happens, right? A memory within us is not stored as a whole package. Everything in one place. So the minute I go there, the whole thing comes. It's not like that. Inside of us, the memories are stored in bits and pieces. A sound associated with that memory, a smell or a feeling, a thought, a word, they're all stored separately within us. They're all not together. I don't know if you know computers, but for those of you who know computers, you will know this is very interesting. When you write something in Word and you save it, you think your whole document is sitting somewhere. It's not. The computer basically takes bits and pieces of it and puts it in different places. And when you ask for the document to come, it knows what to bring. And it brings everything together and shows it to you. Did you know that's what computers do? Aha. But it's not just computers, that's what you do too. Because in your memory, all of these bits and pieces are stored. And when you remember, you actually bring, whenever there is a trigger, you bring all of these bits and pieces together and you actually create that scene, that experience, that feeling again by yourself. So, does that sound right to you? Do you do that? Sometimes something happens, right? Someone says a word. You go back home and you're thinking about it. And you think, did she say this? Did she mean this? What you remember? And now you're painting what has happened. as you're storing it inside. Am I right? And sometimes when you see a particular phase, so many things come to your mind from various areas, and you create an experience there. So basically, every time you remember, you're actually creating. You're not bringing back, you're not recollecting and bringing it back. You are creating a picture. You are an artist. You are recreating that scene basically for yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like for example, let's say I make very good salads. Let's say I use the same ingredients. I make a salad today. I make a salad tomorrow. I make a salad the day after. Does it taste the same? No. What happens? Even if I use the same ingredients, every day the taste is not exactly the same. It's slightly different, depending on the day, depending on how fast I was doing things. Know how carefully I put things. There's a slight difference. In the same way, when you remember, it's like you're taking a brush and you're painting your recollection at that moment. The strokes are going to be different every time. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a practical example here so we can understand this. There was a time when I was going through a difficult situation. Something had happened, something that hurt me, and I didn't know how to come out of it. And I was talking to one of our senior instruments, and she said, I kept telling her, I have to process this. I have to process what happened, so it can get out of my system. And she says, you can't do it like that. You have to first sit and be peaceful. You have to be in a good state. And then you can process what has happened. You'll be able to get over it. It's a very interesting thing because when when I'm remembering something, based on what my state is right now, that's going to be my experience. Not just what happened, but what my state right now is. If I am peaceful, I can process it easily. I can do it in a peaceful way. But if I am a little disturbed, and then I remember something, they're going to come together. They're going to clash and make it a little bigger than what it actually is. Make sense? You must have seen road rage. How many times is road rage because of the incident that happened there? Many of us look at what happened. I'm like, really? For this? It's not that though, right? You're coming already with something. You are in a particular state of mind, and then it just takes a straw. Am I making sense? Yeah. So remembering is a process of creation. You are the creator. You are the creator. Many of us think this happened. That's why I remember it this way. This is what it is. It's not. It's not like a fact. You are the creator and the one remembering. When you're remembering, you're recreating it. You bring it all together and you're recreating it. Now, when you know that you are the creator, what happens? It gives you power. I create a salad, it doesn't come out well. Next day, am I going to go in and create the same salad? What would I do? Or maybe salad you don't connect with. Let's say cake. I make cake and it's not coming out well. Am I going to do exactly the same thing tomorrow? Or a flower arrangement. I tried one today, it didn't work. Will I do the same thing tomorrow? What will I do? You will change something. You will change something because you are putting that arrangement together. You are making that item, whatever it is. So, when you remember, what do you know now? You have the power to create your own, the one that you like. You don't have, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can slightly change it. How many times, right? Someone has said something to you and you feel bad. Next day they come and say, I'm so sorry. I just didn't mean it that way. And now the way you think about it has completely changed. Am I right? All you wanted was that sorry to completely change the way you think about it. You could have done it even without the sorry, right? Because who did it? Who did it? You changed it, right? You recreated it in a completely different way. You could have done it even without that. That is the power of remembrance. And there is one person that we know who's the master of this. Maybe you've heard of her. Her name is Dadi Janki. She's no longer with us, but she was constantly working on herself. And there was an amazing thing about Dadi Janki. She remembered things that happened 60 years ago, 70 years ago, and she could repeat it to you exactly as it happened, what she learned, what was taught, what it meant. So everyone used to ask her, Dadi, how do you remember something that happened 60, 70? She lived up to 104, right? So, and to the last day, she had that kind of, she remembered everything. So they asked her, how do you remember this? She used to say, what do you think I'm doing all day? I'm cooking. Everything I like, everything I want to remember, that I want inside of me, I reiterate, I put it inside. And what I don't want, what I don't like, I change them. Or I leave them. This is your home, isn't it? What is inside of me is my world. So I get to choose what I keep there. And whatever I remember, I choose how I remember it. So I would like to say, Michelle, you're always an angel. That's how I want to remember you. You know, I had a little an argument with someone very close to me one day. Many a time I tend to prove my point. I want to be right. Is that wrong? We all want to be right, right? I tend to do that. But this one day we had this argument. And I sit there and I said, you know what? You have to just start seeing me as an angel. And this whole thing will not happen at all. Because that's how I see you. Sometimes you need to think like when you are getting into this argument, do I want this? Do I want to remember this interaction this way? Do I want to go through this? If it's a really big fight and I'm really going to let go of that person and never again meet, you have to think about that. We'll talk about it another time. But if it isn't, can I change the way I look at it? Do I really want to fight, make up, and then waste all that time and energy and everything? Can I just let go? All right, whatever. You can do that because I am the one painting how I recollect, how I remember the interaction. If I see you as an angel, I'm going to interpret what you do in the same way, right? Now, this is remember. So, how do I remember myself? I'm seeing Michelle as an angel. How do I see myself? How do each one of you see yourself? Now, this is important because the more and more I see myself in a particular way, I remember myself to be something, it becomes my personality. It becomes my personality means I am going to start seeing things that way. If I think I'm an angel, Michelle, how did you look at the world that day? Isn't it? If you think you're a human, it may not be bad, but it'll be different. But how I remember myself, how I see myself, is how I'm going to look at the world, the way I'm going to interact with the world, the way I'm going to experience the world. So that becomes my personality. Right? And the more and more I practice that, it becomes ingrained in me. You all know the story, right? Of the Indian Cherokee and the little boy. Right? This Indian Cherokee tells his grandson, there are two wolves within me. One that's angry and one that's peaceful. And they're constantly fighting. So the little boy asks, Grandpa, who's going to win? Children are always interested in who's going to win, right? Who's going to win? And the grandpa says, the one that you feed. And how do you feed? The way you remember, right? If you remember you're peaceful, you're feeding the peaceful wolf. If you keep thinking, I'm getting angry, everything in the world is making me angry, feeding the angry wolf, right? This is just an example, but that's how things work. If you look at things negatively, you're going to experience things negative. And that's going to become part of my personality now. Yeah. Is it making sense? Too much? So, what do we need to do? Not just remember, we remember a lot of things that happen, a lot of things that happen in our life, people, what they've said, but also remember who you are and how you look at yourself. This is the most important relationship of all remembrance. The most important is how I remember myself. Do I always remember all the things that I've done wrong in my life? Or do I always remember things that have gone wrong in my life? In both ways. I have done wrong or things that have gone wrong in my life. My parents could have done more for me. My teacher could have done more for me. My friends could have done more for me. My neighbors could have been, the government could have done more for me. Right? Is this what we remember? Or can we remember all the blessings that are in our life. Now, when you remember all the blessings in your life, that doesn't mean all other problems go away. They're there. But you have the power to handle them. That's just the simple difference. You keep yourself calm, you keep yourself stable, you have won 99% of the war. The rest is handling what happens around you. But if you have not handled this, it doesn't matter how many capabilities you have, how many facilities you have, how many friends you have, there isn't much we can do about it. Right? So the first thing is how I see myself. You want to take a moment and just try and see, remember, how do I look at myself? How do I want to look at myself? Yeah. Choose. Now you make your choices. How am I going to look at myself? How am I going to remember myself? Now, the next step, we've done 4 steps here. The next step in remembering is when you can know that all this that's going on inside you, these are your memories, these are things, but you are the one looking at them. When a memory comes, right? When you remember something, who's looking at it? Are you the one who is looking at it? Are you the one who's being looked at? You're the one looking, right? Exactly. If you can know this difference, that memory is a memory. It's not you. I am the one who's seeing it. The one who's seeing it is called the observer. You understand? That means you separate the emotion, the feeling that comes with that remembrance from yourself. You sit and you watch. Have you ever done that with your mind? Have you ever done that? Yeah, just sit and watch what's happening. Even when a memory comes, you just watch. You realize that you are the observer, not what happened at that moment to that person. You have to disconnect that. It's a memory. It's not you. It's something that happened. It's a story. It's a memory. And I'm looking at it. When you can, this is what we do in meditation actually. And when you do this, something amazing happens. The minute you are able to separate yourself, it's like you are a gardener, right? What does a gardener do? How many of you love gardening? What is so beautiful about gardening? Rose? Rose. Growth. Thank you. Sorry. Growth. You can see it grow. Grow to flower, grow to give you fruits, vegetables, or just grow bigger and beautiful. Anything, right? But that's what you're looking for. So, what do you do for that? What are the things you don't do, right? You weed, you make sure it has the right soil, it has the water, it has the sunlight, you take care of it. Sometimes you talk to it, play music to it, sing to it. Yes. When you wake up in the morning and you look at it, you just feel so beautiful, right? If you separate yourself from your memories as you remember them, you have the ability to take care of them. What are the ones I want? What are the ones I want to prune? Change something, some little thing, right, that made it not so beautiful. Prune. Maybe there is some other that needs a little water, a little sunlight, or a little more time to grow, whatever. But I am like a gardener now. And in this garden of mine, inside of me, I ensure I have the plants that I want. And I let them grow to give the fruit or the flower that I want to see within. And the weeds that I don't want, what should I do? Remove them. It's the same gardening as you do outside, but what you're doing is inside. Now tell me, why is meditation not interesting? It's basically gardening. It's basically creating a beautiful meal. It's basically creating a nice flower arrangement. But this is inside. What are the things that are beautiful, that give me happiness, that are lovely? Keep them in there. What I don't want, things that don't matter, that are creating havoc, let them go. This is the actual work of our life. This is what Raj Yogis do, right, Louise? Constantly working on the inside to do this. When we are able to do this, what is inside of you becomes visible on the outside. So as you walk around, what happens when you go to Macy's? You understand what is growing inside of you, the flowers and fruits and everything that's there. They start becoming visible through your eyes, through your face, through your expression, through the way you walk and talk. And people can see your garden and they become happy. They become inspired. How many of you have seen someone's garden and say, oh my God, I want to have a garden like that. I want to do this, right? These kind of flowers, I want them too. That's what people start feeling from you. This is a state in which you're no longer remembering. You are being what you are remembering. You understand? Now, the same thing that you do with yourself, you do it with divine presence. That's Raj Yoga. Allowing now to do everything on my own sometimes is difficult, right? Even in gardening, sometimes you want tips from someone else. Am I right? They have this little app now on the phone. I don't know if any one of you have that app. If there is a little plant that's dying, you just go and scan and it'll tell you, oh, it needs milk. Okay. There are plants that need something else. It needs coffee or tea or something. And that means you're adding the right ingredients instead of just putting Miracle Grow or something. You're adding the right ingredients the plant needs to grow. Or if you have overwatered a plant, it'll tell you that you've overwatered and stop watering. It's the same thing here. In the process of Raj Yoga, while you are cleaning up inside of you and doing all these beautiful things, you take the help of God. You take the help of the divine. So you don't have to do this alone. There is someone who already knows what the most beautiful garden will look like. And you get inspired and you do it with him. This is remembering the divine and allowing that energy to move through you as you do everything in the world. This is the secret of remembrance. So there is, yes. So I don't know in terms of time, like years or months, not like that, but it takes attention. It takes that you need to pay attention to yourself. We live in a world where 99% of our attention is around us. And right now, it's even more distracting because there's constantly something being churned out there. So it takes away your energy, it takes away your time. And somehow we get so distracted, we're not thinking about ourselves. But the idea is to turn around and give yourself attention first and see, where am I? What is going on inside of me? Taking care of yourself and then looking at the world. Now, what happens? You are in a position to help, you're able to give because you've taken care of yourself. So, yes, it takes time to pay attention to the self, definitely. But the process is very rewarding. I have seen people who have come and started meditating for even a week, and they're like, you should see their faces. They're glowing. That means they've started some inner work. And when you start this work, you don't realize that there is a lot more work to do. Because even the first little work that you do starts showing the changes. I experience the changes already. I experience the joy that comes from it. So it becomes easier to take that next step. And then the next step. But I agree with you. It's a life's journey. Yeah. So there is this little story. You must have heard this story also about the eagle, right? They say a farmer found an eagle's egg and he just put it with the chicken eggs to hatch. And it hatched. The chicken always hatch anything, right? So the egg hatches, and this little thing, he grows up with all the chicken. So, he does exactly what the chickens do, eat corn and look for worms. He's just going around because he thinks he's a chicken. Because he's only with chickens. He doesn't know anything else. So they say one day a naturalist sees this and says, that's an eagle. What is he doing with the chicken? The farmer says, oh, he thinks he's a chicken. So the naturalist says, okay, let me take him. So he takes the eagle up to a mountain top, holds it in his hand, and says, open your wings. Have you ever seen an eagle's wings? They're huge. They're no chicken wings. They're huge. And as the eagle opens its wings, he says, fly away. And when it goes up, it sees all the other eagles flying. It automatically opens its wings and starts to fly. So, one is it takes long, but it can also be momentary. As soon as you realize, really, I'm not human. Aha, I'm an angel. But if that realization can come such that it shows in your life, the change is instantaneous. The beginning of the change is instantaneous. You still have to learn to fly, even as an eagle, right? You have to learn to fly, you have to learn to hunt. There is a lot more that comes after that, but you've started to fly. It's a big thing than eating corn on the ground. Am I right? Am I right? It's better than eating corn on the ground as an eagle. So, remembrance is when you realize this is not it. I'm not just this being who needs to make the two ends meet and go from morning to evening. I'm beyond this. I am here to play a part. This is a game I'm playing. This is a role I'm playing. I come from completely elsewhere. And I'm going to go back. It's like your whole intellect turns around. What? When I first heard this, I'm like, what? I was surprised. I didn't even know there was even there existed anything like that. I had no idea. That gives you the strength to see yourself differently. That's the first thing we need to do. I need to remember that I am more than this. I am beyond this. And then the journey starts to the transformation. Until I can channel that divine energy that I am through me. That is simply remembering. Are you an eagle? Are you an angel? Are you the divine? You are. You are divine. You are an angel. So many people say, oh, I don't have proof. You don't need proof. Why do you need proof? Start and see if it works. If it doesn't work, you can always drop it. That's always there. But start, right? The experience will take you to the next step. And hopefully within that lifetime, you have an experience to get to that. And you will. If you choose to. Yes, if you choose, you're on the right path. We'll get there one day. We're on the right path. Remembering is the right path to start. Once you start, maybe it takes a little long, maybe longer, but there's hope that we'll get there at least, right? But to not even start on the path is where it's difficult. There is no hope. What am I looking for? Where is the light? But when you start, there is a path forward, I think. Does that help? Okay. Exactly. There are so many things that are possible if we start. I always think the beginning is what matters first. You're on the path. Will there be obstacles? Probably. But they always come because at that point you need to make a choice. Which way am I going to go? Every obstacle is showing you a path forward, and I have to choose which way I want to go. Help me understand that question. Mhm. You. Your experience. Her question is, can you validate your own path, right? Is it right or not? There is only one person who can validate my path, that's me. And the validation is not to declare right or wrong, but to know from experience. I will know if I'm going in the right path, if it's giving me what I'm looking for, is my thought. You want to say something? Sure.
Thank you. Oh, hello. Thank you so much. This was tremendously helpful and novel and new for me. Beautiful. There's something else that I always think of if I want to validate.
Mhm.
It's what I learned here about innate truth.
Mhm.
What I think Michelle was experiencing in Macy's was an innate truth. It was her. But we've buried, as we speak about every week, we bury that truth.
Mhm.
But I know, and you know, a child knows, unless they're amoral, they know when they're committing wrong, when they're 2 years old. And it's not just because they get punished. As we get older, there's a right and a wrong that we, I believe, tell me if you agree, we innately know truth. And in that moment that we don't plan, when there is a divine force like you experienced, and I experienced at Peace Village last week with the Call of the Times, changed me. It was such a beautiful experience. I was transported, and it gave me energy to deal with certain family things the following week. And it is something that I don't learn. It's in me if I open that door.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
I do. But even if no one else validates, right? You yourself will know. Honestly, when you look at yourself, you will know if this is the path for you, if this is the right thing you're doing. Yeah. In silence, you always know the truth. I agree. I agree, yes. Yeah.
She gives you that feeling that you want to achieve. And you know what that good feeling is. You hopefully know what that good feeling is. And you hopefully want to get to that feeling within your lifetime.
Mhm.
And sometimes that gets to you very late in life
Mhm.
because you've already experienced so much within that lifetime that you finally got to that moment that you want to get to. And at that moment, even though it's very late in life, you still want to achieve that. You know you want that. I mean, that's personal. That's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm sitting here. I know what I want.
Mhm.
And I have enough background and experience
Mhm.
to know what I want.
Mhm.
And I want to achieve that before,
Mhm.
I will say, my body dies.
I would say you're a long way ahead if you already know what you want. You will get there. That's a big thing to know what you want because many of us, there is this so much searching going on, searching and trying to
I just
find.
hope I have enough time within this time to get what I want. I get it in bits and pieces, but it took a very long time to get to
So-
those pieces.
So just, I don't want to go too much into the depth of it, but remember that it's a journey of not just one lifetime. It's a journey, and we all will get to where we want to get. But it's not just of one lifetime, it's the journey of the soul. Yeah. I don't want to go too much into that, but it's more than a lifetime. And each one of us will get to our destination. We're meant to be there. Michelle, it's
Yeah,
8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Can you just would you mind doing the quick, I hate to use the word quick guided meditation, just.
So I'm thinking, I don't want to do a commentary. I want each one of you to look at your own garden, right? And create what you want to create there. Let's take a couple of minutes to do that. Take your attention away from everything around you and bring your focus to yourself. Gently start to observe what is going on in the inner world. What do I want in here? What do I want to keep? What do I want to discard? What do I want to repair? What do I want to replace? This is my world. I remember that I can come back here and do this over and over again. Until it is exactly as I want it to be. My peaceful space, my sanctuary, my world. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, over and over again. That's what it's about, over and over again. Doesn't end. The soul never ends. Energy never ends. Thank you so much. Wasn't that a beautiful evening? Yes, bravo, bravo. Yes, lovely, lovely. So, new month, soul power. So all the remembering, now we're going to put that power to work. And it begins next week. And we have Sister Tina. And one more thing, if anyone is interested, the Beginners Raja Yoga course starts September 8th. It's actually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, 6:30 to 7:30. And if you're interested, if you're interested, you can sign up. And Om Shanti. And please, I think Sister Louise is helping out with the Toli and the blessing cards. If not, come see me. And thank you. And Zoomers, thank you. And thank you, AB. I think Ryan's there. Thank you so much. Yes. And I don't know, is Eric around too? It's just Ryan. But thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.